What's up, it's me Dev, and welcome back to dev.arcade and another Wayfinder video. With all the new players coming into Wayfinder Early Access, I thought I'd share some beginner tips for anybody who is just getting into the game. This isn't an advanced guide or anything, so these are going to be pretty obvious to any experienced Wayfinders, but good to know if you've just started playing or if you're considering jumping into Wayfinder. So, the first tip is, when you first start up Wayfinder, you'll be able to choose from 3 of the starting characters: Wingrave, Silo, or Nis. The game will give you a chance to run through a short tutorial to test out the Wayfinder, including a little backstory intro for the character. Once you finish the tutorial, you'll be asked if you want to try out one of the other starting Wayfinders. Even if you think you've made your mind up on your chosen Wayfinder, I would highly recommend trying out each of the Wayfinders before moving forwards. Not only will this allow you to get accustomed to how the other Wayfinders play and what their abilities do, which is beneficial when you're in a group, but you also get to know the characters a little better. Once you've made your selection, you cannot change it, so really make sure you've chosen your Wayfinder that you want to play, at least until you can unlock another one. So, much like Warframe and other games like it, Wayfinder allows you to create your own progression path. While all players work their way through the main story quest in a fairly linear path to unlock the new mechanics and zone progression, 80 to 90% of the quests are considered side quests. Completing these will give you the resources required to craft new weapons and Wayfinders or improve your Echo build. All players have access to the Codex, and once you know about an item, you can simply visit the index to find out what materials are required to craft it and where those materials are located. You can then make your own plan as to what you want to work towards next and what content you'll be completing to accomplish it. If you're ever stuck on where to find specific materials or creatures, the community's done a great job of putting together some fantastic resources to help you out, like this infographic from Anteco FPS, I hope I'm saying that right, which shows expeditions and hunts that you need to farm if you're trying to unlock different weapons and Wayfinders, or this Highlands area map from Vermin's Queen, showing off the locations of enemies, hidden areas, creature levels, bosses, and more. So big shout out to them for putting the effort into creating those for everyone. They're super awesome and extremely helpful. If you're looking for specific information about anything in Wayfinder, you can visit wayfinderdb.com, where you can search for pretty much anything and it'll give you a detailed description. While not all the information is here yet, some of this has to have either been data mined or the person who added it has a creative imagination, as there are some things here such as a 3-imbuement Gloom mutation called Gloom Collapse, which isn't in the game yet. To unlock access to lost zones in the game, you'll first need to explore the open world areas and locate the zone before you can use your Gloom Dagger to access it at the Gloom Portal in Skylight. While you're out in the open world, make sure to fully explore the map. There are hidden areas, creatures and loot tucked away all over the place. Just using the map for navigation in these areas isn't 100% effective either, as there are many hidden underground dungeons and locations that don't appear on the overworld map, some of which stretch out far from when the map looks like it ends. So make sure to use your double jumps and dashes to find all the hidden nooks and crannies. As you level up, you'll gain access to higher level accessories through defeating more difficult enemies. While in the early stages, I wouldn't worry too much about the specifics, simply choose the stats that you want to increase, then higher number equals better performance. You can use your overall power level as a guide, just make sure to swap out the lower level accessories with higher ones once you can equip them. You can sort both your echoes and your accessories by power just by pressing the C key. Check out the accessory stats and see which best complements your character. Higher level accessories will have better stats, more echo slots, and higher echo capacities. You will find that upgrading your accessories can really boost your power level if you're ever stuck on trying to get stronger. Once you get closer to max level and you have more accessories and echoes to play about with, this is when you'll really be able to customize your character build, but as this video is just for new players, I'll be going into that in more detail in a separate video for more advanced mechanics and theory crafting. When you're leveling up your character and killing creatures, you'll gather up a collection of echoes. Each time you level up, not only will you gain access to more echo slots, but also a higher echo capacity. As each different creature drops its own unique echo, make sure to check the echoes that you're collecting and try out different combinations to see what best fits your playstyle. Boss echoes, which are called rush echoes, will even add extra effects to your attacks and abilities, and once you find an echo you like, you can then hunt that creature specifically to try and drop a higher rarity version, which will have even higher stat increases. Once you've found your ideal echo, you can then fuse other echoes into it to power it up even more. The general rule of thumb is that the higher tier and rarity of the echo, the more powerful it is. So make sure to slot the most powerful echoes that you have while you're leveling up, and then once you've got enough experience, you can start getting into the min-maxing of specifically hunting for and tuning certain echoes to create the perfect build. One thing to pay attention to with your echoes is their type. Each echo and echo slot has a type. If you place an echo into a slot with a matching type, it'll half the echo capacity cost to equip that echo. can completely understand getting attached to a certain Wayfinder or weapon and not wanting to play anything else, and while that is a completely viable thing to do, I would strongly recommend trying out both the different weapons and Wayfinders in different combinations, as you may find something you really like, especially as each weapon has its own unique special ability, so even within a single weapon category like sword and shield, experimenting with different variations of Wayfinder and weapon could really create some interesting combinations. They've designed the game in a way that incentivizes players to play with as many Wayfinders and weapons as possible, and they plan to release at least one new Wayfinder and weapon every season, which is 3 months. So, with over 4 new Wayfinders and weapons every year, you'll be missing out if you don't try them all. When leveling up a Wayfinder, you'll get points to spend in 2 areas, abilities and affinity. First off, when applying points to your abilities, keep in mind that you won't be able to max out every skill, so read each ability upgrade tier to see what benefits it grants you, and that way you can plan out your skill path depending on what perks you want the most. You can respec them at any time and try out a different combination, so don't worry about it too much. Your character's affinity is an extra progression path where you can apply points into either instinct, discipline, or focus. Each of these has its own specific bonuses that it applies to your character, which increases by 1% every level. So for example on Wingrave, Instinct increases your max health, weapon power, crit power, and break power. You can see on the right which weapons and accessories are impacted by that percentage increase. Upgrading these affinities also costs materials which increase in rarity and cost as you progress higher into the affinity paths. You gain extra perks when these reach tier 5 and 15, so for Wingrave, when your focus is at level 5, your healing pulses reduce incoming damage by 10% for 8 seconds, and at level 15, they increase the weapon power by 5%. You can only level these up 29 times, which can unlock a total of 3 perks. So once again, make sure you plan out your progression path accordingly and don't try to spend points in places where you don't need them. Keep in mind that you can't currently respec the affinity points, but when you can in the future, you'll only receive your affinity points back, not the gold and resources that you spent to level them up. The devs have said that the fact you can only get to 29 points is currently a bug, and when you can get to 30 in the future, that'll allow you to unlock 4 perks. You also gain mastery experience for the weapon class that you're using, which unlocks even more perks. Once you've reached mastery tier 1, you'll be able to select one of the 3 perks to activate. Each Wayfinder class has different perks for each weapon, so make sure to check out all the different benefits you can get to best enhance your character build. While it is entirely possible to play Wayfinder solo, working in a team really helps with lost zones and hunts due to the fact you can create complementary team compositions to be able to tackle the most difficult of encounters. Allies can help you up if you're downed and tank damage or distract enemies, and generally it's just more fun playing in a group. Plus the Wayfinder community is really friendly and people are happy to help new players. Airship has been pretty clear and transparent with what Wayfinder is and what they'd like to do with the game going forwards. This is not an MMO, it is an action RPG in a single server shard with instant spaces. If the game is successful and they're physically able to do it, they've said they'd love to turn it into more of a full MMO years into the future, but right now I would go into Wayfinder with an open mind and without any specific expectations of it being like this game or that game. It is pretty unique, so just jump in, explore, see how it feels and plays, and then send any feedback that you have to Airship, as they have already shown that they listen to the community and they're very much open to making changes based on the community feedback. I hope that was helpful to all of you who are just about to dive in and start exploring the world of Wayfinder. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions I could answer, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to dev.arcade for more Wayfinder content. See ya!